I post this as a public service announcement. The future of the United States. Well, if, if you've studied history since 1957, you can pretty much predict the future of the United States. So I'm just going to tell you what's definitely going to happen. It's not an if, it's just a when it happens. MIT gives us till 2040 for societal collapse, and that looks right to me. So what's going to happen? Well, right now, the federal government is deep in debt. We owe $40 trillion. We can't pay it off. The most we can do is pay off a little of the interest every year. So we're not paying off our debt, we're just paying the interest. This happened many times in the past to different countries, most notable France, and the shit hit the fan in 1789. So what's going to happen to the United States? Well, the federal government is going to run out of money someday. And if MIT is right, it's going to happen in about 15 years. Um, so when the federal government runs out of money, it in reality becomes helpless. It can't give orders because nobody's going to obey the orders because the federal government doesn't have any money to send the states, right? So the states are going to say, well, we're just going to have to take care of ourselves. This happened in the Egyptian first intermediate period. So the government will fragment. The federal government will have no authority, right? And the government will fragment. So if you're in a blue state, that's not going to be too bad because blue states have money. Red states don't have money. Right now, in this federally organized system, the blue states pay for the red states. Now, when the federal government goes under, the blue states are not going to want to keep paying for the red states, and they're not. So the blue states the whole country will fragment into a bunch of small autonomous political units. Like California will be its own country. It's the fourth largest economy in the world now, so there's no doubt about that. They'll do okay. They're the gate to America all the countries in the Far East that ship stuff across the Pacific. They also have a climate that is I can't think of the word now, but makes it easy to plant stuff. So you could plant there's a major crop you could plant in California. That is the cannabis crop, more properly spelled with a K because it's a Greek word, not it's not a Latin word. It's a Greek word. It should be spelled with a K, um, just like Socrates. But we won't. I don't want to digress or digress. It should be digress. I don't want to digress right now. So say around 2040, the federal government the states start to secede. California says, "Fuck you, I'm my own country now." Um, the Northeast, I think there were 7 or 8 states in the Northeast that during the time of COVID, when the walking shitbag couldn't provide enough medical equipment and stuff, they formed the Northeast Consortium. You could say consortium. I say consortium. It's consortium. Well, maybe I should say consortium. Anyway, that was a financial organization where they pooled their money and they could buy medical supplies. So it's not um, it's not unrealistic to think that the Northeast Consortium would reform in a political way. So you got the blue states doing okay after the country fragments, but the red states, they have no money. They have the stupidest populations, and they have the most corrupt politicians. So um, if you live in a red state, you should probably get the fuck out of there, unless you want to see firsthand what happens when the money runs out and you're on your own, and there's no police force and there's no fire department because there's no public money to pay for these things. The only people that will have security are rich people who pay for private security. This is exactly what happened now after what we call the fall of Rome in the West. Rich people just moved out to their country estates and they hired private armies. So, in about 20 years, the only security around is going to be private security. So, if you want to be secure in 20 years, and I would advise, here, this is what I would advise: getting some firearms. If you, I don't personally don't like firearms, all right, but the bad guys have them. So, if you want to be on a par with the bad guys, you got to get some firearms. It's, there's no other way unless you want to raise a Zulu impi of 30,000 men armed with stabbing spears to protect your home. That's probably not going to happen. So, in this world, the only person who protects you and your family is you. So, I wouldn't wait to buy to arm up because uh, um, projectile weapons are not going to get cheaper anytime soon. They just, like everything else, they just get more expensive. So, all right. So the salient points of this video: the United States has about maybe 15, 20 years before it collapses, before the economy collapses, and the country fragments into a bunch of little countries. And if you want an exciting life, fighting off desperados and gangs and criminals, you can move to a big city or a red state. Um, Other than that, if you're in a blue state, you're going to have to be armed because, like I say, when in times like this, social welfare programs are the first to go, and that's going to be the cops and the fire departments and the people who work for those organizations are going to be transferring themselves to private security. Making the transition to private security, it's probably a better idea. You get more money, and there's no less oversight. There's basically no oversight. All right, I've rambled long enough. If you don't believe what I'm saying, that's probably because you haven't studied history since 1957. If you think it's going to turn out differently, good luck, because usually the same circumstances always result in the same ending. So if you have the exact same circumstances, like trickle down economics, in basically in France and Russia and the United States, and I'm talking about Russia in 1917, and France in 1989, and Rome really back when I think the fall of Rome in the West was around the year 479, maybe. So it's not like this hasn't happened before. Japan, the emperor ran out of money. It was all about basically trickle down economics, which just a different word for transfer of resources from the most of the people to a small bunch of people. That's what trickle down economics is. Trickle down economics is a transfer of wealth. All right, so all right, that's it. Take my advice or don't take my advice, because either way, um, that's called natural selection, right? That's called natural selection. So if you want to not take my advice, go ahead, because that's natural selection at work. Um, and what more can I say except um, scold, or what they used to say in Polish. I used to know the Polish one. Uh, anyway, here's to your health. Drinking coffee at 5:21 p.m. because I'm on Hilbert time.